OK, still to come on Sports Day for you. The WBC World Heavyweight Champion, Deontay Wilder, has been busy sizing up his next opponent. And we hear what it's like to be one of the few referees from a black or ethnic minority background working in football.
When I walk into boardrooms and you shake someone's hand and they pull it away from you, hold on a minute, I'm the referee.
Here's something that could upset a few traditional cricket fans. England and Australia will wear names and numbers on their shirts for this summer's Ashes series. It could look a little like this. It's all part of the ICC's promotional plans around the new World Test Championship, but it is dividing opinion. There's a lot of people out there who do not like this. Let's take a look quickly at the history of cricket and what players have looked like in the past. Well, this is the 1930s, a woolly jumper and a button-up shirt. That was good enough for them. In the 1970s, along came Kerry Packer and the World Series tour, and importantly, colour TV. And we had these lurid colours. At the 1992 World Cup, names. And heaven forbid, 1999, names and numbers. And to the traditionalist, shock horror, for the county championship, it was introduced on the white shirt too. Now, for some, this has not gone down well at all, but the pros, by and large, seem to like it. Doesn't bother me in the slightest, says Travis Head. It's one of those innovations. Don't think you can call it an innovation, really, but he's very positive about it. I can't see anything negative about a decision like this. But there are those against it. Cricketer Niall O'Brien. Quite simply, I don't like this idea at all. How about one of his supporters here? Sorry, I'm a traditionalist on this one. A big no from me on placing numbers on Test cricket shirts. Michael Vaughan, though, he's very different about this. Delighted to hear about names and numbers potentially being on Test cricket shirts. Well, it's more than potentially, it's actually going to happen. Well, what about the guy who broke the story, Ali Martin? Personally, I think it's a good idea. Let's talk to Alison Mitchell. She's a cricket commentator around the world and for the BBC, of course. Alison, first thing to say to you, why all this fuss about something to most of us, I guess, seems like such a small thing?
It is the break with tradition, isn't it? And cricket has a long history of tradition in the Test game. People see it as the sacred form of the game almost. But no, it's something that I've been calling for a long time, either during commentary and Test match special or indeed on the BBC Stumps cricket podcast, to say, well, look, we want to open up this game of cricket to make it as accessible as possible. If people care and love about Test cricket, and there's been much gnashing of teeth over the years about a potential demise of Test cricket, well, surely this is just one small thing, really. It doesn't alter the fabric of the game in any way in terms of the actual cricket. It's a small thing that could, for me, make a big difference just in terms of the accessibility of the game for those who are at the ground or watching it on their televisions.
Indeed. And you say that it's just a question of tradition. Has anyone ever said to you, Alison, or given you a specific reason as to why it would be detrimental to the actual game of Test match cricket?
Well, I haven't heard a specific reason that makes me think this would be a bad decision in any way. Sentiment, really. I think that people like to see Test cricket as perhaps a special form of the game, keep it slightly different, to keep its own identity, perhaps separate from the white ball forms that we saw there, the photos of the names and numbers and the coloured clothing of T20 and 50 over cricket, and the other forms, of course, will have the 100 as well next season. But Test cricket will still be Test cricket. It will still have its own identity. It will still be 5 days long. It will still be played with a red ball. The shirts will still be white. They will just have a name and a number on the back. One little extra thing I can potentially tell you is that my understanding is I believe that we might see a little bit of colour introduced as well into those numbers. I do think that's something that we might see. Perhaps it might be that England say, do you know what, we can go dark blue or navy with our number on our back. Perhaps South Africa will go green, the West Indies might go maroon. That's an additional thing that we might see. But there will be a bit of regulation around those numbers. The numbers won't be allowed to be more than 2 digits, so double figures only. It has to be the name above the shirt number, not below. There won't be any room for a sponsor's logo across the shoulder or anything like that. It's a name above a number. But yeah, certainly it's something which I think if you go to the ground for the first time and you're watching a game of Test cricket, why wouldn't you want to know who it is you're seeing if you're not familiar with those players?
Alison, the traditional fans are going to be spinning. Colour? I mean, look, they were having a problem with the names and the numbers, but coloured names and numbers, oh, my goodness me. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because the authorities are tiptoeing around this because they know it's going to cause a problem. This is just a kind of experiment. Are there plans to introduce it to, for example, the women's Ashes series?
Well, it will come into force, the test regulations will come into force on the 1st of August, I understand. That would be too late for the Women's Ashes test, which is taking place in England in July. So as far as the women go, yes, after the 1st of August, whenever the women play a test match, then they too will be able to have names and numbers on the backs of their shirts.
Much ado about nothing, perhaps. The WBC heavyweight